Our tale begins in Macomb County, Michigan, at the Clintondale pump station.
Before we go inside, I have to warn you, this story is disgusting, and I don't like disgusting. So of course, my wonderful coworkers decided I'd be perfect to cover a story about things that we find in the sewer. This is a sewage pump station, and in 2018, they found something big in a sewer not far from here. Will Glover, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm here to meet Macomb County Public Works Commissioner Candace Miller. If there's sewer problems, they're her problems.
Let's just cut to the chase. What is a fatberg?
Well, a fatberg is something that sometimes sewer systems, they're found in the sewer systems. Macomb County found one made up of greases and oils that people have put down their drain rather than disposing of them properly in their garbage. And our particular fatberg was 19 tons, 100 feet long,
100 feet long?
11 feet wide, and 6 foot tall. That was our fatberg.
That's a gigantic clog, and if it gets too big, it can mean raw sewage backs up into basements or gets released into rivers or lakes. The fatberg removal cost $100,000. Its discovery came as Miller's team was looking more closely at what was going on beneath. A few years before Miller became commissioner, an aging sewer pipe collapsed, causing a sinkhole. Part of a major street and a house fell in, repairs costing many tens of millions of dollars. A big story, but the fatberg, that was even bigger.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
With a piece of the fatberg by her side, Commissioner Miller invited the press to come by and see it. The fatberg had its star turned in the fall of 2018.
But as I say, we want to use this as a teachable moment if we can, for folks to try to change people's behavior of what they're putting down the sewers.
What behavior does she want you to change? Well, this is a flushable wipe, and Candace Miller wants you to stop flushing things like this down the drain. Because once this gets in the sewer system, it can form what's called a rag ball. And once oil and grease and dirt and trash get caught up in this, it can start to form a gigantic fatberg.
The wipes were the binding agent for the Macomb County fatberg.
How do you get this stuff out of the sewer or out of the water system?
Well, what you can see here is what we call the rake. And so this thing literally goes down very deep into our wet well here, and it is pulling up these wipes, these rags as we call them. And they dump them right into a bin, right? A trash bin here.
No.
A big dumpster.
Oh my goodness. That
and
is
so
terrible.
we get several of these dumpsters a week at this particular facility, just full of these wipes.
It looks foul, but the smell is diabolical. Most of the fatberg is now in a landfill, but some of it is being studied at Wayne State University's Integrative Biosciences Center, where Tracy Baker looks after it.
So you have an actual piece of the fatberg here in this lab, correct?
That's correct, yes.
And so were you really excited when you found out you were going to be working and studying a fatberg? Were you like, yay?
I was a little maybe timid at first.
Yeah.
Carol Miller had contacted me asking if I would be interested in studying the fatberg. I had to kind of look up what a fatberg was before I made that decision.
Carol Miller, no relation to Candace Miller, was the driving force behind getting the fatberg into the laboratory.
I'm very interested in what goes through our pipes, so when this huge backup occurred in Macomb County, I thought, wow, this is exactly my sort of stuff.
Baker, Miller, and a team of students are getting to know the fatberg up close and personal.
So your hands are in the tank, you're
Right.
moving stuff around.
So we're just looking to see what we can find in the fatberg. It's mostly plastic and wipes. We found a bunch of tampon applicators, and we can see like sheets like this, which is just wipes, looks like.
Is there anything in these fatbergs that you guys have pulled out that you're like surprised by? Like, I never thought that would be in a sewer, much less here with me now.
Mustard packets. Yeah.
Mustard packets?
Yeah, it just looks like somebody's trash can.
What are we trying to find out?
We're trying to find out what sort of compounds are included in a fatberg. We want to know a little more about what sort of chemicals are involved in a fatberg and how could those impact us if bypasses occur and the raw sewage goes into the river. And then we drink that water. So what we put into the water eventually comes back into our body. So we'd like to know about what's in those pipes.
Yeah, you just made your job exponentially more important when
There
you
you
put
go.
it that way.
We think that it's probably acting as a sponge because the wipes kind of absorb. So I think that
Right.
it could definitely be concentrating chemicals, and then the bacteria, because it's sitting in sewage for a long amount of time, like the bacteria, many different kinds of bacteria, potentially harmful ones, could be accumulating.
So when you're looking at bacteria, is that like a DNA test? Like you're testing the DNA to see which bacteria, to identify the bacteria?
Exactly, yeah. So we take parts of the fatberg, and then we're able to do an extraction. We concentrate it and then do an extraction, and then we do DNA sequencing to look at all the different bacteria that are part of it.
It's 23andMe, but for a fatberg.
Exactly.
Okay.
The research also comes back to the biggest issue concerning this fatberg mess. It's these wipes. When they go down the drain, how do they break down?
This is a wipe that said that it was flushable after 48 hours.
I don't think that's gonna go through.
I don't think so either.
I'm not the smartest man in the world, but
So you can see that is almost fully intact.
yeah. And this is flushable.
This is a flushable wipe, yep. As you can see, didn't break down. And that's basically what we see for almost all of the wipes that we've been looking at.
And giving the wipes more time doesn't seem to help.
This particular wipe has been in this water for over a year.
A year?
And it looks like you just put it in there a minute ago.
It looks brand new.
It looks brand new.
There are defenders of flushable wipes, which are a worldwide multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry.
The Responsible Flushing Alliance, yes, it's a real thing. It's an industry group. Says that it's not flushable wipes that's the problem. It's people flushing things like paper towels, feminine hygiene products, and other non-flushable items down the toilet. But the folks specializing in sewage say you shouldn't flush anything but toilet paper. No wipes of any kind, no matter what they say.
You know, if you pick one of those up in the grocery store and it says flushable, and you're using it, you're thinking, oh, flushable, I'm flushing it, right? I'm gonna flush it down the toilet.
Right.
Must be all right, says so right there, you know, on the packaging. Actually, it's a nationwide problem, and even internationally. In fact, London just had to deal with a big fatberg. New York has a big fatberg. They're around, and it's because of all these wipes.
There's no safe sewer system anywhere.
No, and we're doing it to ourselves. I think that Congress should be passing some legislation that outlaws them from packaging with those words on there, that they're flushable. They should say non-flushable, non-biodegradable. And other than that, if they just did that, that would be fine.